Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
That bugs me, man. That really bugs me.
This is episode 174, recorded October 12th of 2022.
Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, Doc Rodden, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979, unfortunately for this movie. Each episode, my co-host Jeff Mohr and I will tackle another classic or not-so-classic film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. With me this week is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great. I'm looking for a tall building to go stand on the top of and watch the runway lights come on and off.
The runway lights.
Hours at a time for no reason.
Hours.
I'm sorry.
All right. Also joining us tonight is Space Jesus Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, and all-around nice guy and hater of everything Apple. How you doing, Bill Mulligan?
I'm looking for a tall building to jump off of rather than watch this movie ever again.
Wow. Oh, man. And what's going to make him jump off? Satine Hunt is here with us. Yes, Chad Hunt, comic book artist, co-host of Decades of Horror, the Classic Era. How you doing, sir?
I'm looking for another smart-ass kid to slap around.
70s was full of smart-ass kids to slap around, and we've got one tonight. We are reviewing The Visitor from 1979. If it only held out a month, it would be 1980s, and wouldn't have to do it on this show. But there it is.
Oh my God!
We would have made Crystal watch it then.
Yeah,
The Visitor.
She'd have probably liked it.
Probably.
Oh, I love this movie. That kid was terrible. I loved it.
Oh my gosh. You know what? We're not going to waste any time. Let's look at the card, and then we're going to get into sharing all our thoughts and memories about
Misery. You're right the first time.
Film.
This was the best part of the whole movie.
Someone's got the frizzies.
The hair. The Visitor from 1979, directed by Giulio Paradisi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All known as Michael J. Paradise. I like that. Michael J. Paradise, ladies and gentlemen. Screenplay Luciano Comici, maybe? Probably. I bet it's Comici. As Lou Comici. Hey, Lou. And Robert Mundi as Robert Mundy. What the heck, folks? Story by Giulio Paradisi. And Ovidio Assonitis.
Let's go with Assonitis.
Ass on tits. All right. Thank you.
No monetization on this show.
Assonitis. No. And no friends in Italy, apparently. They've all disowned
Not
me.
anymore.
All right. The cast includes Mel Ferrer. Yay. Clint
Yay.
Ford. Yay. Lance Henriksen. Double yay. John Huston. Yippee-ki-yay! Joanne Now, Sam Peckinpah, Shelley Winters, Paige Connor, and Franco Space Jesus Nero.
It's a hell of a cast. This movie's got to be great.
Yes, the release date was March 22nd, 1979. So I was wrong. It wasn't 1 month. It was a whole lot of months. So it wouldn't matter. And in September 28th in the United States. Budget was $800,000 and it made a whopping $400,000. That's the way to make money.
Yeah.
It's also known as, I'm not saying these names, Jeff.
Nah.
Well, I don't know what the stridulum, which I looked up and doesn't really have a real good meaning. And in Germany, it was der Außerirdischen, which translates to aliens. The aliens.
Wow. Okay. Synopsis is: the soul of a young girl with telekinetic powers becomes the prize of a fight between the forces of good and evil.
No, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Let's just look at the poster real quick. That's how they sold the movie.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect poster for this movie. It's got nothing to do with the movie. It makes no sense. It's
the one on the top.
It's an eyeball with a lightning body that is trying to strangle you with a bloody wire.
Yeah, you know, I'm just now.
Right.
Seeing,
There was a wire. There was a wire at the
There
end.
There was, I guess.
and I'm just now with the one below. I'm just now seeing after
Yes.
years of looking at it that
That's a
that's a
bird.
hawk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It took me a
Well,
while.
and I
to-
always thought, I looked at that one on the bottom and thought, this looks like that one creature on Babylon 5.
Oh,
Big-
okay.
That's what I was seeing until I looked at it and went, oh, wait, it's a hood and a hawk and an eye. That's weird.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay.
All right. The Visitor from 1979. Chad, this was your baby. You chose
Yeah,
it.
Chad.
Was
and you
it?
cho-
I
and you-
don't recall
oh, you-
choosing this movie.
So let us know, one, why you chose it. No, just kidding. Let us
Because
know when
he's
you
Satan. Satine.
Satine, when did you first see this? And what was, my friend, your first impression?
I saw it yesterday.
Yesterday.
And my first impression was I've never seen it before, and it was on Shudder, our dear friends at Shudder.
We love
And
Shudder.
and I said, well, I've never seen this before. And I said what Bill said. I said Lance Hendrickson, John Huston, Glenn Ford is in this movie.
Come on.
This is going to be great. And then my very first impression became this movie can kiss my ass.
Thank you. Thank you. So is that it? You're just done with that?
No.
That's wonderful.
I
Thank you,
should have
ladies and
left it
gentlemen.
at that.
I'll just make something up.
Holy cow. Holy cow. I had no idea what was going on at any given time. This movie went on way too long. There were scenes in there that were just dragged on forever and ever and ever. And it's sort of like I felt like they were trying to rip off The Omen and The Exorcist and put a little sci-fi twist on it. And it wasn't that that's a bad idea or anything. I was just bored off my hindquarters, to
your hindquarters.
to try and get some sense out of this movie. And boy, did I hate that little kid.
Yeah.
Man, did I hate her so bad. And she's probably just the sweetest person in real life
sure.
you'd ever want to meet. And but the character that she played, I couldn't stand her. So that was my one favorite. The best part was she was so dripping with evil and
Dripping with evil.
and that kind of stuff that I enjoyed hating her, that character. But yeah, that's my first impression.
I feel you, man. I feel you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Bill Mulligan, sir, what was your first impression?
When Shelley Winters slapped her, I stood up and cheered. It was my, the one really good feeling. And it looked like she hit her for real hard.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
Shelley
think
was
she
a
did.
method actor.
I think she did.
Yeah. Okay. So I had heard about this, and I'd actually been under the impression that Houston had directed this. Thank God he didn't. And I start watching it, and it's weird. It's got that kind of like, this movie is a mess. It's okay. So we're trashing it, and I will certainly trash it. I will say that it's better made than once I realized what a piece of junk this was, I was expecting nothing. And I think it's competently made. I mean, I don't care about basketball, but I thought they shot that basketball sequence in a fairly exciting way. It should have been shorter.
They shot the whole game, though. That's the bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little too much of it, but I mean, it was well done. There's good camera movement. There's some good angles, and it's well composed and everything. It just doesn't have a coherent story. I'm listening to it, and there's a lot of exposition in the beginning to try to set you up to explain how things are going, and you're like, well, they just ripped off Scientology and about 12 other movies to make this movie, and let's throw birds in there, and there's a little of this and a little of that, and then it, God help them, I think they were trying to do a little Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to watch 12 minutes of John Dykstra UFOs bouncing around the sky, but I'm not willing to watch 12 minutes of what looked like two flashlights with gel filters shining on a wall, moving around. It's like, oh, look, here's two balls of light, and here's two more. Now there's four. Like, and John Huston is selling this like this is the greatest thing ever. Like, what an awe-inspiring sight. this movie doesn't make a lick of sense. My wife and I are just watching it like we're watching The Producers, jaws hanging open, waiting. I'm looking. This movie's got 5 minutes left, and it needs to explain what's happening. Is that we're going to stick it to the bitter end because I think it's all going to come together. No, it doesn't. I have no idea why Jesus sent John Huston to Earth, and this weird plan to. This girl has telekinetic powers, which she never uses except like a couple times, even though they would have been useful. And so they want her mom to have another boy so then he can raise a child with the sister. Like, oh, skeevy. Lance Henriksen looks like he's confused. Like he's read the script. So he looks confused. And everyone else looks like they had a nice vacation in Rome. Glenn Ford's, this took a day to shoot and I get to spend a week in Rome. So I guess everyone had a good time. I don't know. This movie's just odd. I can't imagine how they tried to sell it and how it got made in the first place. So of all the WTF's 1970s movies we've done, this is one of the WTFest.
I love that. That is fantastic. All right. Why did you do that to me, Jeff? Mr. Assonitis? No. How did you say it? You said it right.
Assonitis.
I said Assonitis.
Assonitis.
I just wanted to way to pronounce it that it didn't sound like ass.
I had Assonitis once. It was very painful.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Jeff feels his name is Mr. Assonitis.
Yes. When did you first see this? What was your first impression? And then
I watched this a couple months ago, and I think I saw. I talked about this in the last episode, actually, but there's a science fiction book by Clifford Simak called The Visitor that I really liked, and I thought, The Visitor, and it had this kind of weird shape on the front, and I thought, that could be the thing in the book. And I watched it a couple months ago, looking for stuff to do on here, and went, no, I don't think so. But then Chad picked it, so I watched it again, and I always look at it differently, and I watched it 2 more times because
you're a masochist.
The second time I watched it, I was looking for quotes. I wasn't watching too close. I was doing something else and trying to listen for.
He was too busy ordering the Blu-ray.
Good quotes. Yeah. So, but anyway, you're right. It's way too long. There are endless sequences of just a long list of stuff. What did Bill brought up the basketball game? We see I think we see 20 points scored in that basketball game between the two teams. And you only really need to see about maybe 4 or 6, if you, and then we have an endless sequence of a woman in a wheelchair driving around in circles on her living room floor, of the little girl running down the street, of John Huston walking through buildings and climbing in windows and John Huston
down the stairs. I'm like, those are big
down the stairs. Oh yeah, the stairs.
Famous
the world's
stairs.
Longest elevator or escalator that's not moving because it actually goes up, and they wanted him walking down. So, and then him standing on the top of that building, and with what looks kind of like, I don't know, runway lights on, and then this blue light would show up and broaden, and then at some point there's the little spots running around like Bill was. I got no idea what those were.
I expected Carol Burnett to show up.
I will say the first time I watched it, I didn't have a clue, but the second time I sort of I read that description that I told you guys about off the show that described John Huston as an intergalactic warrior working for a Jesus-like character. Anyway, and then his little Franco Nero's Space Jesus description at the beginning. Actually, I could see what it meant after I'd already seen the movie, but I would never tell somebody watch this the second time so that story makes sense. It's a dumb story, but anyway, it does explain what's going on. Because before the first time I watched it, I didn't know, is John Huston a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know who this guy is in white with blonde hair with the piercing blue eyes, and I don't know.
They are piercing.
So
They literally are.
yeah, and here's the other thing. You mentioned she has like telekinetic powers. Why doesn't she use them more? What about John Huston? What the hell is he sitting around waiting for? He puts these people through all this crap, and apparently,
Yeah.
I don't
stopped
know.
at any time.
He just needed to wait for his friends to show up, who all turned into crows or
Pigeons.
that turned into
Crows.
crows.
Crows would have had some dignity. These were pecked by pigeons.
And then some of them turned into metal sculptures with blades that came out of the beak.
That was strange. That was strange. That was
crazy. It's crazy town. It's crazy town. But anyway, Glenn Ford didn't last very long. I'll bet he wasn't there more than a day on set. I mean, I wouldn't think so. Anyway.
But he earned his keep because it didn't look like it was a whole lot of fun driving with a fake bird pecking at your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, that was some of the.
And who doesn't hit the gas when something like that, or hit the brake?
Right. Nobody's got any brakes. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe I guess the powers of the Eagle made it so the brakes didn't work. I don't know. But it was kind of cool how the car rolled down the hill and wrapped itself up in that chain link fence so he couldn't get out when it blew up. That was kind of cool.
I like the hands.
All right.
Yeah, you're right.
This is too long. I'm turning into. We need to let Doc do his first impressions.
All right,
that was a lot more than first impressions.
So for me, I knew about this film, but I never had the desire to watch it for whatever reason. I don't know. It was just like one of those movies that kind of like, oh yeah, I'll get to that eventually. It just wasn't on my radar, even though I knew about it. So yeah, I watched this for the first time over the weekend, and man, did this take some life out of me. I think it was like, I was like, my brain hurt. I was like, what is happening? And I'm kind of surprised I hadn't wanted to watch it before because the cast is pretty amazing. I mean, everybody in it, except for I don't know who Joanne Nail is. We'll figure that out here soon. But yeah, early Lance Henriksen. And what's ironic is that this film plays a lot like Damien 2.
Yeah.
Or Damien.
And it came out just months after that.
Yeah. And it also has Lance Henriksen in it, playing basically the same freaking person, just not in Atlanta. So this made an interesting weekend. I was like, oh my God, I had to fight not to fall asleep. I felt like I had to get some opera things going on in my eyeball.
I like that reference. Hey Doc, I just noticed you've got the giant eyeball from the poster right over your shoulder.
I do, right there.
So,
and I got John Huston's.
One of the things that hit me was the first time I watched it, I didn't pay that much attention or read anything about it. So this time I'm looking at all the credits and stuff and see all these, Michael J. Paradise is the director, but it's really, I go, oh, this is an Italian movie. That explains a lot. And it's produced by the same guy that produced Beyond the Door. That explains a lot.
Oh, that does explain a lot. Although I like
which was a much better movie.
Yes, it was. Which, but I just thought all that was interesting. But it's definitely an Italian movie in the plot layout. It's like, wow.
And every time the music made my backbone tremble. With it was the most inappropriate type of music for what they were trying to.
Yeah, I don't know what they told the guys. Like, okay, I want you to be like Goblin, but they're a little too sedate. So ramp it up.
Oh my God, the music was horrible.
Oh, terrible.
I will say that, regardless of there are moments that I liked. We talked about the Hawk scene in the car, pulling the eyeballs out. That was fun. The our Katie Collins cussing at everybody was a blast.
And the ice skating sequence was hysterical.
It was really, and that reminded. God, it felt like what's the Brian De Palma film where people are on thing, the Fury, where they fly around,
Yeah.
they fly through the window. It felt like,
yeah.
because they go through the window in slow motion, just like in the Fury, except for in the Fury, I think they're actually in a cart from a carnival ride, right?
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
a much better movie.
But yes, I mean there are moments, but
Yeah,
as a whole, I'm just like, John Huston's just walking around doing nothing and just watching and giving us
babysitting.
Yeah. Oh my God, the babysitter was hilarious. Okay.
And then still ask for the money at the end of the night.
Yeah.
$15.
Oh,
$15.
It would have been suspicious if he did it, right?
Right.
And he sat there and watched some kind of show. I forget what he watched, but anyway, it's just
They were playing Pong.
they were playing Pong, but it was playing through
It's the future.
the old projectors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that old projector TV. Wow. This was like, wow, this must take place in the far future. They're playing video games on a big screen TV.
So that was comedic. There was, but I don't think they meant it to be comedic at all.
No, I don't think so. I got this is how the feeling I got. I couldn't put two and two together story-wise in this whole thing. But I'm assuming at the end, when the mother came home and found the little girl still there at her house, that was what was left of her after John Huston took her soul. I guess.
Good part or
the good part of her or whatever. And
he left the hair behind.
Part. He left the ugly part behind to kill the mother.
Damn.
But he saved her. The crows came and saved her. Or the pigeons that turned into crows or whatever.
And then oh my gosh. And then Lance Henriksen disappears for the latter half of the movie and returns just in time to get poked in the throat by a weird statue,
weird
raven thing.
Statue,
And who doesn't kill a woman who won't marry him by putting a wire around her neck, stringing it around a post, and then sending her?
Yeah. What are you, a Batman supervillain? You got to do it nice and slowly.
You go for that because that's pretty entertaining.
It was cool. It was entertaining, but it was stupid. Who would do that?
Was that before or after the girl drug her up and down the steps or down the steps?
Oh, up and
no, that was
She drug her up the steps and then
which actually looked like it hurt. You're watching this and I don't think there's any real care being taken for the actress here. I think they're just dragging her up there and she's banging her head.
She's literally banging her head against the steps. Yeah.
Take one.
So I can see where, I don't know. Does this have a cult following? I feel like
it does.
Jerry Chandler. That's who. Jerry Chandler. When I said, I just mentioned on Facebook.
We're going to get along.
I'm looking forward to watching it. And he's like, you've never seen The Visitor? Bill, this is not.
We're going to get a long comment explaining the finer plot.
But I remember going to conventions and seeing bootleg copies of this movie, VHS copies everywhere, and I still wouldn't watch it. But I always remember the eyeball with the wire on the VHS boxes. But
what?
It's
it was funny too.
It just doesn't make any sense, and which is perfect for this movie.
The one of the scenes I thought was funny was when they go into the evil guy's board of directors, I guess, for lack of a better term. He calls in Lance Henriksen. Henriksen's at one end of it. Mel Ferrer's at the other end. And there's 5 guys on each side of the table with suits. And whenever Mel Ferrer says something, they all go in unison. And then when he gets done talking, they all turn and look at Lance Henriksen in unison. It's like, what are those guys even there for?
That's what they're paid to do.
It's just
who were they?
I don't know, but they
the evil cabal.
Who walks in down them and finds them all? The
butler.
Yeah. And
they're
was he one of the protectors? You think?
I don't know, but he gets this long close up.
I almost expect him to go, "Yeah, you got what you deserved."
Oh my gosh.
I pick up the phone and call up Shelley Winters and go, "It's done."
Hey, Shelley Winters was, oh my God, that character Shelley Winters, because she's the first babysitter, right?
And she's like an old Mary Poppins that's kind of, let herself go a little.
It was a fake out. I think they sort of made you think, how Damien's babysitter.
Right.
They sort of
it's all for you, Damien.
Okay, so here's what I'm reading a lot into this. I'm reading a lot into it.
Yeah, I imagine so.
But she says how she had a child like her. So I'm thinking maybe she had that same type of womb as Barbara had.
Yeah, so
Mrs. Collins or
Right.
Katie's
I think
mom.
that makes sense.
So we didn't get to
and
see
so
her
now
movie,
she's
huh?
working for the good guys to smoke out the rest of them. And then the other thing I was wondering is if they're the ones, if this cabal or whatever they are behind the scenes orchestrating her having kids, then did that mean Sam Peckinpah, her first husband, was part of that cabal or something? Because she already had one kid. She had Katie. She already had Katie. And it wasn't Lance Henriksen, wasn't the father. But he still went ahead and
I presume that they didn't know about her until Katie was born.
Yeah, that's what
that could be.
Yeah, and then Dr. Sam Peckinpah was out the door going, "Nope, I'm not playing this game. Good luck. Let's bring in Lance. Lance, you're on. Better up." Oh my God. Let's okay.
I love that. I know that there's nothing you can do about it, but I can't remember what the name of the team was. But when they showed the sky shot of the arena, you see Atlanta Hawks, great big letters on the court. But when they're running around in their jerseys, it says something else, like
they called
Rebels or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it said. But same with Golden State. It was the San Francisco Niners.
Now, okay, so that's not the beginning of the film, but that's the beginning of the story. The beginning of the film has this crazy nonsense, and what is the influence here?
This gave me hope, actually, because it's okay, this is I mean it's not particularly brilliantly done, but it's kind of cool, at least the top part, and then little girl shows up, and then she's suddenly covered in snow globe snow, and I'm like, all right, I'm sure at some point this movie will explain what I just saw.
Nope.
Well, it's been a day now, and no explanation has been forthcoming.
It's so weird because it's at the very top picture you see that she comes in as this fully cloaked figure, and then when she takes off the cloak, it's this girl. They're just like, what?
Well, it looks in snow.
As it's coming towards him, it looks like it's like 7 feet tall. Until they show that profile shot of both of them in the same picture, then it looks like
This is the Pazuzu moment from Exorcist.
Oh my God, it is. Oh my God, you're right. This is like, oh wow, they're like, we have to do this, right? We got to go.
Boy, that'd be a great double feature. This and Exorcist 2.
Jerry will have front row seat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we covered both of them. Oh dear. John Huston. See, I got the John Huston thing going on here.
You do, don't you?
Yeah, that's very good.
You know what I remember? Okay, for me, John Huston is the lawgiver from Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah,
Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
Even though I probably knew who he was, it was the voice of him as the lawgiver and beyond in Battle for the Planet of the Apes. No, sorry.
The top picture, he kind of looks like Saturday Night Live Celebrity Jeopardy.
But if it's true that these people all did this movie to get a free trip to Italy, it seems kind of sad to me that the guy that made the Maltese Falcon and
Treasure for Scented
Chinatown,
and
he made Chinatown. Oh my God, he did
pay his own trip to Italy.
I'm sure.
Here's what I think happened.
I'm sure he could pay for his own trip, but why pay for your own trip?
Why? Yeah. Why
this
do
is
that?
My theory on what happened. I think that
nobody's ever going to see this
talked
movie.
John Huston into being in the movie, but then they went to Glenn Ford and said, "Well, John Huston's going to be in it." Then they went to Shelley Winters and said, "Well, Glenn Ford's going to be in it." And Lance Henriksen.
Sam Peckinpah.
Sam Peckinpah's going to be in it.
What the F with Sam Peckinpah?
That makes a whole lot of sense. So you just got to find that one guy like John Huston. If you hold a brandy snifter in front of his nose, he'll follow you around the earth, and everyone else comes along because like this is a big budget thing. My career might get a kick in the pants from this movie. I got a kick in the pants, all right.
I thought it was interesting. I don't know what state he was in, but they said I forget who it was. Said Sam Peckinpah ended up being dubbed because he couldn't remember his lines. He was
Barbara too. There was a lot of dubbing on her end of it. Not in every scene, but
the mother.
The mother, yeah. You got Obi-Wan Jabroni here.
Obi-Wan Jabroni.
Obi-Wan Jabroni.
They did Tentacles 2 years before.
Yes, that's also Assonitis.
Yeah, it's also terrible.
Yeah, it's bad too.
For very much the same reason, right?
Well, I mean, this one's got at least more going on than Tentacles, which was just like Jaws with a squid, but they didn't have the budget for anything squid-like.
At first, I thought the Martians were sneaking up on them behind them in the first picture there.
Yeah. They do look like the War of the Worlds and Martians, yeah. Why not? It's got 100 other movies in it.
So what did he do? He was an actor in Chinatown, right? He played Noah. Okay, so he didn't direct.
But I think he was a director. Polanski was the director. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But John Huston did a lot of great stuff. Didn't he do Moby Dick?
He did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that's correct. And
that's not considered one of his classics, but it's one of my favorites. So.
Yeah, in the 70s, he did The Man Who Would Be King.
Yeah.
Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean.
Mm-hmm. Angelica Houston's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And apparently a real son of a bitch. But look at how he loves the kids. I mean,
African Queen.
Queen.
That was a great filmmaker.
Treasure of Sierra Madre. Back in 1948.
Yeah. Asphalt Jungle, Key Largo, Treasure of Sierra Madre. Maltese Falcon was his first film, and he wrote it and directed it. And so from Dash Hammett's book, but that's like one of my favorite movies. It's one of the few movies I quote lines from. So I always liked him, but I never thought of him as an actor.
Yeah, I mean, he was good. I mean, he played once he got to that certain age, he had that gravitas, that he.
Okay.
Yeah, he could have been Darth Vader.
Wow.
All right, so I'm going to take us way back into the 70s zone here. So. In Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, this has nothing to do with this movie or horror, but I've got to bring it up. He plays a character called Grizzly Adams.
Oh, wow.
Is that the same Grizzly Adams character? That's the Grizzly Adams thing? Or is that just the same name?
It's got to be the same name.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if it was.
I know it's not the same actor who played it on the TV show, but... it's just funny. It's like he directed it too, but he also played a character called Grizzly Adams.
Grizzly Adams.
Oh yeah. For me, it's just that voice. He has this great voice.
Yeah, great voice.
And
he was in that. What was the? This was as an actor, the Richard Harris movie where he was taking a wagon train.
Oh, the one that they basically based on the same story as The Revenant. Man in the Wilderness, I think it was called.
Man in the Wilderness, yes. He was the captain of. They had a big ship.
Yeah,
that they put big wheels on to make it a wagon.
Good thinking, Doc. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I hope he enjoyed Rome. I bet he closed every bar in Rome. Man could drink Oliver Reed under the table.
Yeah. Well, I have to mention this guy again because I just think it's interesting that this Assonitis, Ovidio Assonitis did Beyond the Door, Forever Emmanuel,
Soft
Tentacles, The Visitor, Madhouse, Piranha 2, and they're quick to point out that that's the first film that James Cameron directed.
That's
Piranha 2? Oh my God, yes.
And we got stuff like The Curse, Curse 2, The Bite, Beyond the Door 3, American Ninja 4, Scent of a Woman.
Scent of a Woman, yikes! If he'd made an Emmanuel movie with tentacles.
I think Scent of a Woman was a big hit with Al Pacino. And,
sure.
And he has a quote that says, "All in all, I am sadly aware that my contributions to the horror genre are not of such historical relevance as, say, The Exorcist or Psycho. We're not talking masterpieces here, but I have put all my love and enthusiasm into my films, and I think it shows." What's more important, I have gained the respect of true horror fans who are always loyal and extremely perceptive. They know a good film when they see one.
So
he
was
may
this
well
a
be talking
personal
about
letter
Beyond the
to
Door.
Jerry Chandler. Was that?
Yeah, well, Beyond the Door, I think it said it grossed 40 million.
Yeah,
which
I mean,
is
it made a lot
crazy
of money.
insane.
Well, Jerry's
had a
listening to
great
this right
ad
now,
campaign.
going, "He's speaking to me."
Okay.
I met
So-
him at Dragon Con. And blah, blah, blah.
Oh, nice.
No,
I get
Jerry
it.
said that.
Yes,
He's
yes.
doing a Jerry impersonation.
Okay, so I'm stuck on the whole Grizzly Adams thing. So sorry. It is the same character. Grizzly Adams is a real character, is a real person, John Grizzly Adams, and it's the same character in the Life and Times of George Worthington, and there's also the Life and Times of Grizzly Adams. Is actually what we remember Grizzly Adams is actually the Life and Time of Grizzly Adams. So it is
No way.
Yeah, it's the same character.
No way.
I wonder if he ever ran into Buffalo Rider.
But he's a real person. That he became he was a famed United States outdoorsman. Yes, he was also a performer with P.T. Barnum shows.
Wow.
So that means it's totally legit.
Yeah, absolutely.
The things you learn on this show.
So so there. I don't know why that matters anything other than that Dan Haggerty as Life and Times of Grizzly Adams is so essential 70s, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? All right. Enough. I'm done.
Wow.
All right. Lance Henriksen. Let's go.
Who?
Speaking of
Piranha
too, right? Piranha, yeah, what happened to him? Why didn't he do more?
I know
I'm
this
surprised.
isn't the junkiest movie he was ever in, but
It's
we
not.
did
It really isn't.
Pumpkinhead on 80s.
Yep.
And Omen 2. You already brought
He's done a lot of cool stuff.
Terminator.
Aliens. I'm sure you did Aliens on 80 at some point.
Yes,
Terminator.
Terminator, yeah.
And every other movie on the Sci-Fi Channel that has a Bigfoot in it also has.
Well, he was in Close Encounters. He
Yeah.
was in Close Encounters. He was in Damien the Omen too, of course. As he started getting bigger and bigger roles. There's a movie called Mansion of the Doomed. Does anybody know about that? Mansion of the Doomed. He was in Dog Day Afternoon.
He was in Near Dark.
Near Dark, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yes, he was definitely Near Dark. I was talking about earlier in his career. We probably. I mean, I would say, unless you're
8
an Omen
episodes
fan,
of Ryan's Hope.
that
Eight?
that you remember Nightmares?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because didn't he play a priest or something in that? Or McLeod the Benediction? Benediction sounds like it might be. But yeah. So anyway, Lance Henriksen is an icon now for horror fans, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I hope he's making
a
a lot of money now because he's in 10 movies a year that are like day players, I assume.
Mhm. Nice guy. If you've ever met him at a convention.
That is true.
Yeah. Treats the fans very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, isn't he one of another one of the people that was killed by Alien, Predator,
and a Terminator?
A Terminator, and also gets Jeepers Creepers? Or no, he wasn't in Jeepers Creepers.
No, he wasn't in Jeepers Creepers.
I'm thinking of the guy from what am I thinking of? Twin Peaks. Never mind. Got him confused with that.
One of his best roles ever, Millennium, the TV series.
Oh my God, I love that show.
Yeah.
What was his character? John Black? Was that his character?
Was it Frank Black?
Frank Black.
Mhm.
John Black's our friend.
I love him in the Pixies.
Hi, John. What, the Pixies?
Yeah, I know. Different Frank Black.
Oh, okay.
3 people thought that was amusing, but hey,
Oh my
Pixies
God,
fans. Yeah.
It went like totally
ever.
over my head.
Yeah, that's all right.
Oh my God.
Look at those pigeons. You cannot make pigeons scary. I look at that bottom picture and it's just like from a John Woo movie. I mean, I wouldn't want them pecking at me, but they're not exactly bald eagles or peregrine falcons. I mean, they're pigeons.
He does have, he certainly does have a presence.
Oh yeah, he's magnetic.
Yeah.
I mean, even though this isn't, the role that's going to make him by any stretch of the imagination, he certainly does have a presence, and you can see it in here. You hear it in his voice, the way he just stands and just on screen. The camera loves them. So yeah, it's interesting to I love catching these early roles for actors that we like whenever one of them show up in real early, like what's the alligator movie that has Freddy Krueger in it? Yeah,
so. Eaten Alive.
Oh yeah, Eaten Alive.
Yeah.
And I'll bet it was a thrill for him to be. I mean, you're acting in a movie with John Huston and Shelley Winters, some really famous.
Does he act? Does he get to meet them though?
Actually, does he? I don't know. That's a good question.
I think he does. I think he does. He does get to meet Shelley Winters because he's like, no, maybe he gets to meet both of them, right? Because she.
Oh yeah, because he's the one who's like,
the babysitter.
When a 100-year-old babysitter shows up, it's like,
gives him
seems a little
shit,
sketchy,
right?
but whatever. I got places to go.
And then he sits across the table from Mel Ferrer. So hey, there you go.
I like when they were driving and John Huston was babysitting, and halfway to their destination, you think he's a child molester?
I kind of got that vibe.
Yeah, you think he might be a child molester?
I was gonna say something about it, but then I got distracted and
let's hope not. Let's hope not.
No, man, the agency sent him. Did they? All right. Shelley Winters.
Yes.
She's a
Poseidon Adventure. I always think Shelley Winters, Poseidon Adventure. Or
she's
Big Bad Mama? No, that's somebody else.
Well, sometimes she seems like a sort of a joke or a caricature, but she won 2 Oscars and was nominated for 2 more. I mean, she's a good actress.
Yeah, I mean, once she got older and, wasn't the pretty young ingenue anymore, she kind of segued into these older roles, kind of embraced it. But she was in a lot. I mean, she was in Lolita. She was in Night of the Hunter, one of the greatest movies ever. And if you've never seen young Shelley Winters, watch Night of the Hunter, and it's like she was a dish.
Yeah, I said Big Bad Mama, and it's Bloody Mama, so forgive me.
Big Bad Mama was Angie Dickinson, right?
Yeah, Angie Dickinson. Yes.
She was in Who Slew Auntie Rue?
Yeah, and she was Ma Parker in Batman. Don't we do Batman things?
Yeah.
Everything ties back to Batman.
Everything ties back.
I mean, toward the end, it was more. She was more famous. She was on every talk show because she was a good storyteller. She had that gift of gab, and even though it's like, well, I haven't really. No one was lining up to see. Oh boy, the new Shelley Winters movie is out. She was a comforting presence that you saw all the time, talking like, just a regular person with good stories, and you enjoyed her. So, but of course that doesn't pay the bills, so you got to go out and make these movies now and again.
So here's a quiz for you guys. So she was in a John Carpenter film. Without looking at the credits,
hold on.
Which film was it?
Village of the Damned.
Hopefully she's just in one. I didn't look to see if she was in more than one.
Is she in the movie, or are they watching a movie on TV and she's
No, she's in the movie. She plays a pretty important character in the movie. Not a title character or anything. It's a very supporting role, but
it's definitely not The Thing, because there's no women in it.
Yeah, it's not Pete's Dragon, which isn't John Carpenter, but anyway.
No,
I'm just making a joke.
Blew my mind there. It's like, what?
I know I should know this. I should know this.
I have no idea.
It's Elvis. People forget that.
Oh my gosh!
People forget
Kurt
that
Russell,
he directed Elvis with Kurt Russell. That was the first movie he made with Kurt Russell, and she played Gladys Presley.
Yeah.
That was tricky, Doc.
What do you think? That was fun, though, right?
You don't throw a John Carpenter movie at us and expect us to think of Elvis.
But you should, because that's what he did.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
that's what we need to. We need to cover like that film on Patreon, because it's a John Carpenter film.
Only if we do it drunk.
And we have to do it drunk. Yes, we could do that.
And then we got to do Elvis impersonations. Everyone's got their chance.
Oh my God, we should do it like with our little faces down at the bottom. Yeah, we'll watch the movie and comment on it.
Yeah.
We should do it.
Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, I mean, because Kurt Russell made it pretty convincing. Convincing isn't the right word. Entertaining.
Nothing
pretty
like
entertaining.
Elvis.
I remember that movie so much. It's just it.
What was the name of the other movie where he played Elvis or impersonator with Kevin Costner?
Oh, Bubba Hotep. No. Sorry, that was
3,000 miles to Memphis.
What did they put in my coffee?
We're just
who played him now? You said
Kurt Russell played an Elvis impersonator along with Kevin Costner.
Is that the one
Yeah.
They have a whole group of Elvis impersonators and they rob a casino or something?
Yeah. Oh, well, no, it was just them two. And they were sort of like rival Elvis impersonators. And they were 3,000 miles to Memphis or something like that it's called. Or 2,000 miles to Memphis. Anyway, back to The Visitor, everyone.
Better than The Visitor is that movie.
Well, let's go. We don't have pictures for every cast member, so let's go ahead and go through. Like Glenn Ford. How many kind of movies like this?
So
Glenn Ford
Superman, the movie.
Which one? What?
Superman, the movie.
Superman.
Was he in Superman's dad? Yeah.
He played
no.
Christopher
Reeve. Paul Kent. Yes, Paul Kent. Okay.
Yeah,
I was
Paul
thinking,
Kent. His real dad.
I was thinking you. No, that was
not Jor-El.
Not Marlon Brando. Yeah.
I'm saying that Marlon Brando. I guess he was in the Well, I mean, in the 70s, it looks like he disappearance of Flight 412. Well, that's not really horror, but I don't know. There's Superman, Visitor.
He made a lot of stuff.
He made a bunch of good sort of thrillers, and he's in one of my favorite film noirs, and I have to look it up because it's got one of those. I think it's called The Big Heat.
Yeah, he was in that.
And like he's a police sergeant, and his wife gets blown up accidentally by the thugs. I mean, it's a nasty movie.
Yeah.
Lee Marvin scars his girlfriend's face by throwing hot coffee on her.
Yeah, Blackboard Jungle.
Mm-hmm. A great actor.
Yeah, he was in a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Gilda.
310 to Yuma. We can keep going.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple hundred movies to talk about if we want to do it that way. Sam Peckinpah's in this. Sam Peckinpah, the director. I did not know he ever appeared on camera as an actor, but it looks like
I can see why. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have much to do here, but he's done it 13 times apparently.
Yeah.
Oh my God, China 9, Liberty 37. I remember that movie.
He was a great director.
He was in Heaven's Gate, but they deleted him. Lucky him.
Yeah. Dodged a bullet.
Oh, he was in the original Invasions of the Body Snatchers.
Huh.
He played a character named Charlie. I have no idea who Charlie is in that. But he's oh my God, his films, Wild Bunch, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. The funniest one that he ever did, well, the one that makes me laugh, it's not funny at all, but the fact that he did Convoy, based off that song, it just killed me. But Straw Dogs is a great film.
Straw Dogs, Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. That you just go down that whole list. These are all great movies. Via Rides,
The Getaway,
Major Dundee, One-Eyed Jacks I think that's Marlon Brando.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't realize he was the creator of The Westerner, which was a short series that starred Brian Keith as a guy that, one of those wandered the West type characters, had adventures. A bunch of riflemen. Yeah,
but Straw Dogs is often considered, one of those fringe horror films. It really isn't, but it gets lumped in there for good reason. The
Getaway is another really good one. That's pretty horrific. The original Getaway with Steve McQueen and
Steve McQueen. Yeah. And if you, what I love is that if you watched the Offer, the TV show about making of The Godfather, is Ally McGraw is a character in it, and she left the producer, one of the producers of the Godfather, the executive producers of it, for Steve McQueen. Hooked up with Steve McQueen, and that was because of The Getaway. So The Getaway has almost a full episode that they talk about that because it follows him. He goes to the set and Steve McQueen's hiding in the bedroom. It has nothing to do with any of this other than the fact that it's just tangentially related. But
like Steve McQueen's going to hide from Robert Evans. Okay, sure. When Robert Evans tells the story,
no, it wasn't Robert Evans. It was his boss.
Ah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I don't know why I was going there, but I did. Okay, so let's talk about Joanne Nail, who I am unfamiliar with.
Yeah, she didn't do a lot of stuff.
But she looks so familiar, right?
She does look familiar, and I thought she was very attractive, beautiful eyes. But when I looked her up, I didn't really see a whole lot of stuff that I was familiar with.
Well, I remember Gumball Rally, but I couldn't tell you who she was in Gumball Rally. Because that's one of those many chase films that they made.
Yeah.
Do we have a picture of her? I thought I made that.
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
you did.
She's the unlucky mom is a picture.
Yeah, yeah. I think she's gorgeous in these pictures.
It's not a very thankful role.
No, it's a terrible role. It's the most thankless role. She's just abused from the get-go. And no one seems terribly concerned about that. Like, kindly John Huston doesn't seem to give two rats' asses about what happens to her. He's, just saves the girl at the end. It's like, I don't even know if she lived or died at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of you know that they made a TV movie called Mother Jugs and Speed? Because I know there's a movie called Mother Jugs and Speed.
Who played Jugs?
And she played Jugs.
Oh, no. She was Jugs.
She was Jugs in Mother Jugs and Speed on the TV movie in 1978.
Oh,
that's pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And now she was on an episode of James at 16. I don't know if any of you watched.
I remember that one.
Because you're probably close to my age. That was like, yeah. So she was.
I think I remember from stuff like in the 70s, the TV shows that she was in. I saw, where did I see it? Rockford Files, Hawaii Five-0, Young Maverick. I especially Rockford Files. I've seen most of the Rockford Files episodes multiple times.
That must have been a great time to be an actor because all these shows had to have just churning out guest stars over and over again. There was always something available.
Yeah, many times they would show up years later in the same show. Right?
Oh yeah,
somebody else.
So here's one that we have a weird connection to. The Jezebels, also known as the Switchblade Sisters.
Oh, Switchblade Sisters, yeah.
Directed and written by Jack Hill.
Yeah.
And apparently Joanne Nail is one of the Switchblade Sisters.
There you go.
Spider Baby Jack Hill.
Yeah, Jack Hill, I like his stuff.
Foxy Brown Jack Hill. Coffee Jack Hill.
The Terror Jack Hill.
But, yeah.
Like everybody else in Hollywood who worked on The Terror.
Should we talk about Franco Nero? Django himself?
Sure.
The original Django?
Django.
He even had a great cameo in the Quentin Tarantino film. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's still very active. He was in John Wick Chapter 2. He's in tons of films. But there was another one that was coming out recently. What is it? I saw it and now I've lost it. Oh, he's going to be in the Pope's Exorcist, which is being filmed now.
Pope's Exorcist.
Do
we have a picture of him?
Do we?
You have some Space
Space Jesus. Yeah.
There we go. Look at
that. This hides who he is, but that eyes, man.
But those eyes, you can't escape those eyes.
Yeah. And he was uncredited.
I can see that.
Yeah. Because you can't. Well, now, was he supposed to be Yahweh? Was that the premise of this?
I don't think. I don't know.
It feels like it, right?
Yeah. The descriptions say Christ-like Jesus, and then it does say Jesus Christ and uncredited in the IMDb, but I don't know if that means. I don't know.
Well, that's what makes me think there's some heaven. This is supposed to be some representation of heaven, and but they're aliens, and with him being named Yahweh. Because I thought that was his name, Yahweh.
Right.
And I didn't
get heaven. A bunch of bald
John
kids?
Huston actually seemed more like the boss than him.
Yeah,
Or he's like an angel or something.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I thought he was an
he did whatever he wanted to, and then he'd just say, "Oh, we got another one." And then he'd show up and go, "Oh, she's good," and he'd say some things. And
sometimes Jesus kind of looked like he was scowling, like he wasn't happy with the way things were going. I'm like, well,
Oh, he's like that bottom. All right, all you Hare Krishnas. This is how we're gonna do things around here.
Yeah, I mean, there's some religious tones in here, but it's the most awkward.
Yeah,
uncommitted. Like they so like maybe it is. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they don't want to quite hang it on a nail, but it's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. All right, let's talk about the.
There she is.
She was actually pretty good.
She was pretty good.
Well,
she was actually the best part of the.
She was hateful. That's what she was supposed to be, and you hated her.
Yep, and she had great dialogue, and she delivered it with. But when I understand it, she had trouble with it. She actually
didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
had trouble telling Glenn Ford to go F himself.
Yes.
It didn't come across that way,
but she finally did do it. Yeah. So Paige Connor, she does have, she did have a short career, and she was in Little Darlings the next year, and then in 1989, 10 years later, she was in a movie called Fast Food. I don't know if I remember that.
I understand you were saying before the show she's now a successful businesswoman in Atlanta.
Yep, she's in Atlanta, a successful businesswoman.
Good for her.
Yeah,
she's got a makeup business.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But yeah, I mean, how many of these movies with young killer kids?
What is it about the Italians and creepy killer kids?
I don't know.
Well, but at least this wasn't creepy sexual killer kids, because usually they.
Yeah, that was Glenn Ford.
Yeah. Although it was a little uncomfortable when they're doing the fast cuts with her doing the calisthenics and stuff. It's like
it was a little weird. It's like, why is this even here for?
Yeah.
And then she was like doing the parallel bars, or the not the parallels, but unparalleled.
That was so obviously not her. It was great. They never showed.
When they were artificially impregnating her mother, they're flash cutting back and forth between her mother getting an injection and getting put out, or maybe going under surgery for getting shot. I don't remember which one.
That's right, the present. Oh my God, the present. But let's take a look at our last picture, because we are running out of time. And these are just some WTF moments.
That bottom picture, man, I had no
idea.
What was that all about? What the hell? What was going on?
He's waiting for his friends to come, yet there'd be like a dozen guys up there on the roof at any given time.
Yeah.
Well, that was part of the story, though, right? That he came up with a way of like the birds would attack, and eventually they attacked again. So but the Hall of Mirrors, though, was fun. I mean, what she called
the lady from Shanghai.
Yeah.
There is one scene where she actually runs around John Huston.
Right,
he's supposed to be in the mirror, but she like runs around him and hits the mirror.
I saw that. Yeah, you could. Yeah,
I did like the present, though. That was pretty good. She just throws the gun, it goes off.
Yeah, just tosses the gun,
and she goes. She goes like that.
Did I do that?
Glenn Ford goes, we need a magician on this case.
Oh my gosh.
The bad seed times 10.
So
alrighty.
Yeah, we do have some feedback, right? So
we do.
So we need to go ahead and wrap this up so we have enough time to do feedback. So let's go around and give our recommendation. If you want to pick a favorite scene, please do. Chad, sir, you're up first.
There's no way I can recommend this movie unless you're a fan of just weirdness for weirdness sake type movies. I enjoyed making fun of it more than I did watching it. But this is way low down. And as far as a favorite scene, it was exactly that one where she just tosses the gun, blows her mother's back out and just goes, yeah.
Yeah, ends up paralyzing her for the rest of the film.
Shit happens.
Whoops. Oh my God, Bill!
My bad.
Recommendation, favorite scene.
I recommend this for people who already use recreational drugs. Sure, watch it. Send me a letter or what you think it means, because it's probably more than the filmmakers ever did. It's a mess, but you know what? Look, if you're in the right frame of mind and you're looking for something that you can just rib with your buddies and do your own riff tracks, sure. But it's not the lost classic cult film that I was hoping for, but it is unusual. I don't see myself watching it again, but I've been wrong in the past about things like that. I don't know. This is a weird one, and if you like weird ones, we got one for you.
We do indeed. Did you have a favorite scene? Was anything sticking out?
Oh, the ice skating scene was fun.
Oh, nice! Yes,
it was well shot. It was actually well shot. That's what I'm saying. There are well-made sequences here, but they're all too long, and there's too many of them. Like many visitors, this one outstays its welcome.
And you know, and through the whole thing with the ice skating rink, that's when he goes up and down the steps, right? Or goes down. He goes down the up escalator. So yeah, we know that's a problem. Jeff,
I can't.
Does everybody need to watch it 3 times?
But I will say I'm going to.
Said the man who watched it 3 times.
It's burned into my memory. Well, I'm doing it so you all don't have to.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Don't listen to that, folks. He
just a couple of critics quotes from Mondo Digital, the Mount Everest of insane Italian 70s movies.
The Mount
I don't
Everest?
know. That's a big mountain. I'm not sure.
Oh, hey, wow.
Film.com's David Ehrlich referred to the film as a remake of The Bad Seed as filtered through the acid-tinged mind of Alejandro Jodorowsky. I'm like,
fair.
That's a good description.
Holy shit. Wow.
So if that looks interesting to you, or you're like a completist on any of those actors, you know, it's...
Or just want to see...
Shelley Winters chews up a little scenery. You know, she's telling that kid what for right off the bat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and slapping her around like a Christmas ham.
Yeah.
The Mount Everest of insane
Christmas ham.
Do you have a favorite scene? Is it Shelley Winters slapping something around?
Well, geez, now you bring that up. I was going to say the when Lance wraps the wire around.
Yeah, baby. That was
Barbara's head, because I was thinking, you know, there may be a payoff here. Maybe there will be a decapitation. Something's got to give when she goes down the stairs. But the somehow or another, the pigeons magically cut the wire.
They do, because boing.
They're sharp.
Where did he get that big long ass wire from? Was there a
piano?
Was there a piano there that we missed? I guess there is, right?
That's the big continuity flaw in this movie. Where did he get the wire?
That's the big yeah.
It wouldn't have been weird if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, I just can't get around it.
I can't watch this movie without thinking about Jerry Chandler. So this is a Jerry Chandler. We need to have like a whole the Jerry Chandler collection of 70s classics.
No, we don't.
Watch Loch Ness Horror.
But Loch Ness Horror. But I don't know. It's weird. It's strange. You know, hurts your head. But there are moments. But like you said, there's they're in between them. There's these long bits of like WTF, and I don't know. So I'm going to go with John Ford's car wreck. The whole thing with him, you know, getting attacked by the Falcon, and then you know holding onto the chain at the end. Well, of course that was not him, but. It was his character anyway,
including putting the bird in the glove box.
Yeah. Oh, that was actually that bird actually was pretty creepy.
Shelley Winters just murdered that bird. She didn't play around. She just
we're talking about the toy bird, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because he's like freaked out about it, and then a real bird comes and gets him. This movie.
What was the bird saying? Like, I'm a pretty bird or something? It was
yes,
like that.
Yes, I think that's it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So before we get to the feedback, of course, that's our review for The Visitor. Check it out if you would like. Where can they watch this?
It's on Shudder, and I believe it's on Tubi.
Shudder and Tubi. Yeah, and I think it's also on Peacock or
could be,
or one of the other ones like that.
It's everywhere.
I think it's a public domain classic at this
It
point.
might be. It might be at this point, which is kind of ironic when you couldn't get it in the 80s. You had to get it by bootleg. But anyway, check it out. Let us know in the comments.
It is.
So, Jeff, feedback.
On Peacock, AMC Plus, Tubi, Canopy, Shudder,
Jeez.
Fandor.
Can't get away from
Amazon Prime charges for it. So, you know.
Oh, the balls. Are they kidding me? What? Oh, wow.
Okay. Feedback. So, we have two.
We got 4 minutes. Go.
All right. We got Jerry Chandler, episode 173, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. You pretty much covered it. The best of the Sinbad films from that era. You must do Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde sooner rather than later. Just a fantastic film, very underrated, and it has some amazing moments of direction to handle the transformation scenes. Oh, and yes, Tom Baker was the fourth Doctor. And what kind of people are you that you had to think about it? Still weren't sure. How can you not know your doctors instantly, on demand, and off the tops of your head?
What a snob!
So disappointed.
Oh my God!
What a snob! You're just gonna have to live with the disappointment.
Oh my God! Absolutely.
This second one has special meaning for me. So. Just kind of a general one. Hey, Grue Crew, this is from West Diorio. Thanks once again for another great episode of DOH 1970s with Lady Snowblood. As a fan of Tarantino, I will have to check out this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential movie.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, and thanks once again for reading my feedback. So remember, he is the one. Wes is the guy that wrote us and asked us about a film that he remembered a couple scenes from the 70s, but couldn't figure out the film. And then he later found out what it was and let us know. And it was the blood splattered bride. I don't remember which. And then we kind of started talking about stuff that we'd always been looking for. And I mentioned this thing that had logs coming out of the trunk to wreck the cars, following them and stuff. And I could never figure out what it was. Boom. During the final minutes of the podcast, when discussing elusive music and movies that stick in our brain, but we can't quite recall, Jeff wondered about a TV show from the early 1960s involving a car chase with logs coming out of a car trunk. I believe he was thinking about the show called The Man and the Challenge, which aired 1959-1960. The episode called The Dropper from season 1 has that plot line. And then he, just to kind of stick it in, just a quick search on IMDb, but it's the least I could do for my favorite podcast. You have no idea how much time I spent searching IMDb and every other damn place trying to find that show. And not only that, it's on YouTube. There's 2 episodes of that show on YouTube, and one of them is The Dropper. So I immediately watched it, and it was excellent.
That's it.
Was it it? Was it it?
It is. It was.
Bucket list.
What does that feel like? What does that feel like?
The show is about. We got 1 more minute. Well, the show is about a guy.
We do, literally.
The show's about a guy that works at some science institute where they're trying to improve human being performance or conditions, and so these cops are getting blown away by these things. Well, they develop a drug that if you take this drug, it slows down your perceptions, but keeps your reactions at full speed. So you can easily drive around this stuff, you know? So anyway, it was great. It was awesome. All right. And then he finishes up with, it's the least I could do for my favorite podcast. Crew, you are always excellent. Can't wait to hear about Kingdom of the Spiders when you finally get to it.
Oh, we need to. Oh my God.
Ciao for now, Wes Diorio. Thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
I sent Wes an email and said he's my new hero. He didn't respond back. He probably thought I was in danger of being a stalker. So
fair enough.
He has been known to stalk a first.
Yes, I have. How do you think I got on this show anyway?
Any man who watches The Visitor 3 times.
Well, here's the thing. One of these 2 movies that were mentioned, we're going to do next week. Which one is it, Jeff?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes.
Your name's Jeff, isn't it?
Well, it's your pick.
The suspense going. It is
your
Dr.
pick, Doc. It's Hammer's Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde from 1971.
Yes.
Written by Brian Clemens, who wrote The Golden Voyage of Sinbad and Dr. Kronos.
Captain Kronos,
so
not
Captain
Dr. Kronos.
Kronos.
Captain Kronos.
Captain Kronos. Yes, I'm sorry.
We could do
He
Dr.
dropped out
Kronos.
of doctor school.
Yes.
We've already. Well, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, it's on Tubi. It's on Tubi and Peacock if y'all want to catch it before the show. So
Okay.
I'm looking
and
forward to it.
Jerry, don't say we never did a movie you picked
Recommended.
or
Yep.
recommended.
That's right.
Yep.
As long as we don't do the hand.
We're doing it for you, Jerry. We're doing
Or
it
the
for
Loch
you.
Ness Horror.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our show for tonight. And we hate to roast and run, but we have to get out of here. So Jeff, Chad, Bill, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
It
sure
was actually, yeah.
It's
More
always
fun than the movie.
Yeah.
It might have been. It might have been. I laughed just as hard. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say goodnight.
Good
Night,
night.
folks.
Good night.